Hi, I'm Matt West. Welcome to the Roundtable. This is a monthly roundtable of local community people talking about what's going on in Jefferson County. Again, my name is Matt West. Alongside is my co-host, Steve Davis, who's an attorney at law.
And representing, I guess, the northern part of the county, while I live in the southern part and getting all perspectives throughout the middle here.
Yeah, you live in DeSoto and go to Grandview? Wait, how's that work?
Yes, we live outside of DeSoto in the Grandview School District. My wife teaches in the Fox District in Arnold. My office is up north, and I practice primarily out of the Hillsborough Courthouse.
Alongside is our guest. Her name's Jill Thomas. Hopefully your life's not quite that confusing.
No, I try to keep it more simple.
All right. Twin City resident, and I guess you're best known as the director of the Mastodon Arts and Science Regional Fair.
I hope so.
And that's coming up pretty quick. When is it?
It is actually March 15th through the 18th out at Jefferson College in the Fieldhouse.
So here on campus, and this year a little bit different just because of Easter and vacation and spring break and everything else. You had to kind of work it in. You usually have more days for it.
We usually have more days, and it usually is more during the week. We actually start on Saturday, and all of the projects are brought on Saturday. And then Sunday is judging in the Mastodon premiere, and Monday and Tuesday are field trips, and Tuesday evening is the awards ceremony. So yes, different.
Judging is actually on Easter Sunday.
No, judging is on the Palm Sunday.
Palm Sunday. Mm-hmm. Palm Sunday.
So it's the 15th through the 18th. Easter's next week.
All right.
The week after that. And that's the whole reason why we had to maneuver the schedule around, because of Easter, because Jefferson College's break is on Easter,
right.
And we normally have the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but that would have been Holy Thursday and Good Friday. And so
that first day, that's Saturday, March 15th. A huge day. It'll be very active. Kids bringing projects in, all kinds of activities. Can you break some of that down for us?
Yes. Starting at 8:30 in the morning, parents can come with their kids and bring the projects, check in their art and or science project. And then we encourage them to spend the day at the fair, because we call it Family Day. And they can spend easily 3 or 4 hours at the fair. And that day we'll actually have some lunch-type food available for purchase. But we have 14 Renaissance rooms that'll be going on that day. And Renaissance rooms are hands-on activities. So we have all different kinds of Renaissance rooms that'll be going on. From the Science Center will be down there, which is new this year. We have carousel horse carving. Where else can you go in Jefferson County to find a carousel horse being carved?
They're probably cheaper than the real ones you have, Steve.
That's it.
Yeah.
Caricature drawing. We'll have a robot rally where you can actually program your own little robot. Jefferson College will be out there with their electronics program, and their robot will be helping in a candy factory. I'll just say that.
Now, with your fair here, and a lot of the students are participating and entering, and of course, they've already done that. I mean, we don't have any last minute.
No, the entries are closed.
But there's still a lot for every
Yes.
individual in the county to come down and see this as a fair. They don't have to be a participant.
Right, and this is actually the largest art and science fair in the United States. And right now we're filling in all the paperwork to be designated through the Guinness Book of World Records. Hopefully next year, our 30th anniversary, be designated as the world's largest combined art and science fair. So people don't realize how big it is, but it's K through 12 students. And so when they come on the Family Day on Saturday, March 15th, they can, besides seeing the exhibits, of which there are a lot, they can have all the Renaissance rooms, all the hands-on workshop type of things. But we also have dinosaur den and dinosaur egg hunt. I mean, you can go anywhere for an Easter egg hunt, and there'll be a lot of them that day. But you can only come to the Mastodon Fair for a dinosaur egg hunt.
Now, this is the Mastodon Arts and Science Regional Fair.
That is correct.
So regional, we're going beyond Jefferson County.
Yes, and regional is actually a designation of the International Science and Engineering Fair. We had to apply for and be accepted to become a regional fair. And there are regional fairs all over the world, and that means that we can send 3 students to the international fair every year.
Now, what I'm wondering is, when is Jefferson County going to lose because of its phenomenal success? When we start expanding and all of a sudden maybe Melville and Oakville contacts you and says, hey, can we send our students to the nation's #1 fair? And then more and more, and next thing you know, you're getting a call that we're moving it up to the Science Center in St. Louis.
Well, you know,
and there is some history, because you had to move it from the Mastodon site park to Jefferson College just because of the size.
Correct. Jefferson College is the largest building to house these many projects. We actually use all 3 floors.
And how many projects, roughly?
Between 2,000 and 3,000 projects every year.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of projects.
That's a lot.
Now, we actually have expanded to Franklin, Washington, and Crawford counties for 9th through 12th grade science only. So the high school science is the part where the regional component really fits.
And in all fairness to those counties and those students, they didn't have a science fair they could go to.
They used to go down to the Rolla Fair. The Rolla Fair closed because of lack of funding. For 2 years, they had no fair that they could go and participate in. So the International Fair had asked us if we would take them. At that time, we couldn't because we were just a volunteer-run organization. In 2006, when I became the first full-time executive director, we opened up our fair 9th through 12th grade science to those 3 additional counties.
Now, north of the river, the Merrimack, is there an actual fair that the St. Louis County, City and County students go to?
The St. Louis Science Fair, and that is just a science fair.
Are they getting those corporate dollar donations to those fairs that we're not getting down here?
Now, that's interesting you should ask that because we actually get 30% of our donations from St. Louis.
Do we?
Yes.
And we don't have to take their kids? Hey, what a program this is.
Well, what's interesting is that most people and most companies, corporate donors, understand that their employee base is what they really look at. And a lot of their employees live in those counties. And so it makes sense that they are supporting organizations that help.
But back to the important stuff, what's in these dinosaur eggs that you're hunting for?
There's all kinds of fun things in these dinosaur eggs. Well, when you go for the hunt, and their dinosaur egg may be small, it may be large, it may be made out of interesting material, but you know, dinosaurs are different, right?
Yes, all sizes.
So inside of your dinosaur egg will be a slip of paper that you hunt for. Now, in the when you take that slip of paper back to the prize redemption desk, and you can get whatever that prize is. Now remember, this dinosaur egg hunt is for you guys too. It's adults and every age group down to infants.
Wow.
So it's really a lot. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, in case they missed it, when's this dinosaur egg hunt?
The dinosaur egg hunt starts at 10 o'clock on March 15th. And that is Saturday, March 15th. So bring your projects out early.
And it doesn't cost you anything to show up? I mean,
you can come. Everything is free except for the dinosaur egg hunt and the dinosaur den activities.
So
everything
you pay
else
a small
is free.
fee for that.
Right. It's like $1 or $2 or $5 for the hunt, or $25 for a whole family. That's, you know, parents, kids, whatever. But the Renaissance rooms are all free.
You just started mentioning the Renaissance room. You have so many.
Right.
What are some of the other things going on there?
Caution Wigglers at Work, where you learn about recycling with worms. Tiger Tales, the National Tiger Sanctuary, is going to be there. No tigers, though. We have the Art and Science of Gravestone Rubbings. Ooh. Genealogy. We have some, of course, the real robots of Jefferson College are going to be there. The dinosaur egg, the Bollinger County Museum is actually bringing their real dinosaur eggs out on Saturday. So you can hunt the imitation ones.
Okay.
And then you can come see the real ones. So we always try to, you know, mix a little bit of education in with the fun. And then we have Skeletal Mishap, and that's on Monday. Skeletal Mishap is the Mastodon Historic Site. I don't know if you remember, if you've been up there and listened, they have the original person who found the bones or collected the bones from that area, put them together in a different configuration than it really was.
And they thought it was a big bird. But
Not exactly, but you know, it was wrong. And so they'll talk about that process and then how they were shipped to another country and they were reassembled.
All these, and I know you work really hard on all these activities at Mastodon and being part of the radio station KJFF, we've been out there broadcasting from it. But I got to tell you, one of the more interesting parts for me is looking at some of the science projects, because they'll test kids will test like paper towels to figure out which one is actually the strongest. You know, it's kind of something you always wanted to know, because you always read the ads or whatever, and oh, this one's tougher or this one's more absorbent. The kids actually test this kind of stuff. I mean, you can learn, you can become a better shopper just by going there. I mean, that's kind of neat. Or wood burning or charcoal, and you know, all kinds of just neat homemade kind of
Anything
things.
like the Philadelphia experiment where you get the kids showing up building the nuclear bomb and things of those natures.
Well,
I mean, how
hopefully
advanced?
not.
You know, it's those homeschool kids who do that kind of stuff. You know,
Well, this is a couple of examples of science projects that we have had. We had one where a photographic image was used as the security key for a computer software application. And he showed on a very small footprint, normally a what's called a security key is actually quite big. It takes a lot of memory for a really sophisticated one. And what he did was he made one that was very, very small. He went to the International Science and Engineering Fair. He was part of the video that they had where they went around and talked to some kids specifically. He had numerous people ask for the intellectual property, and he actually has ended up as an engineer and will be graduating from Rolla.
well, that's cool.
You know, that's one. Another one that we had was a student who had an uncle that was having a second hip replacement. Or actually it was a knee replacement. And she said, why? You just had it done like 10 years ago. So, well, it only lasts 10 years because it wears out the bone. She's like, well, why don't they just make it where it sticks to the bone? So she started doing some research into it and found out what happens. So she found a substrate that would stick to the titanium and allow the bone to grow to it.
I think it's Gorilla Glue. I think it's what they use. I'm not
No,
sure.
no, that might have been the non-scientific term.
All right.
But what was interesting is that she was able to prove that with this substrate, which bound to the titanium and the bone, that she could actually double the length of time that a
This is really
implant.
serious stuff. I mean,
it was cool.
I never dealt with that kind of stuff, me personally, in high school, and I don't think I ever did in college as well. When you're talking about that level of research, they must put in a ton of time.
It was a ton of time. They get mentors from different organizations. Some of them work here with Jefferson College for the lab equipment. But of course, there's always the normal stuff. And I try to tell the kids, you know, when you're doing a science project, you try to find something that you're interested in. And if it's birds, what bird seeds do birds like best? You know, it's about doing the science well, not necessarily about how scientific are the chemical names, you know, 47 letters long.
Right.
It's about, is the science done well, especially if it's age appropriate for the kids. It's about being excited in it.
I want to take this on a different tangent. We were talking about kids and science and all that. Obviously, their first exposure to science is through schools. And we talked about this a little bit before. And I come from a very strong family of dominant, you know, women. My mother was a teacher and my wife's a teacher in the education aspects. And now my daughter's growing up and I'm pushing her so strongly in the math and science field. So here we got this brilliant scientist, you know, who's the background history. Are we educating the young girls properly in the field? We're putting you on the spot here.
Well, since I have my master's degree in teaching and I've taught, a lot of the responsibility for that excitement and that interest in that you can do it actually comes from the teacher. So if the teacher themselves are not confident in that, then the kids are not going to get that. So I think the first problem is to have qualified teachers who are teaching areas in which they want to teach.
You were a science teacher.
I was.
There are not a lot of women science teachers.
That's exactly right.
Now let's put a really double-edged sword. You just said you have a master's in education and teaching.
Science education.
So you went to school to be a teacher, yet you just said we need to get people that are excited about their fields. What's your opinion as scientists, retired professionals, coming into the classroom as teachers when they don't have the educational teaching background?
Yeah.
Well, I think teaching is one of those things where unless you have done it, people think, oh, it should be pretty easy. It's not. It's not easy at all. And they're incredibly underpaid, which that's another whole topic.
Yes, I think they're underpaid too.
But the issue is, do they love what they do? Does that show up? Because that passion is what's going to ignite those kids.
But can we take the physicist, the scientist, the mathematician, and say, okay, you finished your career, you want to give back? Do we put them in a classroom?
I think they could. They have the qualifications from the science side to teach, but they have to learn how to teach. One of the most important courses I took was about learning styles, learning how people learn. I can't tell you, I use that almost every day. So learning how people learn is vital. And so educational courses, I think, are absolutely required, because just because you know the information doesn't mean you can teach the information. And knowing the information is obviously wonderful, and that's a huge pool of people, that is a huge resource, but I think the educational system needs to be a bit more flexible. Maybe you don't have a person that comes in and works 8 hours a day. You know, I would love to teach a science course in a school.
This program is being viewed by most of the public school districts here in Jefferson County. You can contact Jill. How do they get a hold of you for this?
No. Let me qualify this. Right now, I'm working full time for the Mastodon, but Mastodon Fair.
But you're saying work as a science teacher and be able to bring in these professionals who are excited about their...
Right. It's kind of like adjunct teaching in college, where you come in and you teach one thing, one class. And, you know, I love teaching. I absolutely love teaching. I can't afford to teach. I left it because I couldn't raise my family on it, and that's the problem. If that's your sole income, it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So but to be able to go in and teach, where you don't have the parent-teacher conferences, you don't have the recess duty, you don't have the morning bus duty. Those are the things that killed me. Because, I mean, you get 20 minutes a day where you don't have something else scheduled. You can't even get things copied during that time frame. So the stress level is really high. So schools have to kind of reinvent some of that. But to get back to your original question, I don't think girls specifically are being encouraged enough in the in the math and science area.
I blame fathers, because they're more likely to buy their little girl a doll instead of a chemistry set. But, you know, that's just me.
I'm weird. I bought my children books. We have a policy that when we go to bookstores,
There was a study, though.
I never deny them. Anytime they want a book, I will buy them any book they want. We got like an unlimited, over their borders or whatnot. So we push the books in my family.
Well, and that is important, because whatever the parents value is what the kids value. You know, if the parents value education or books or reward that kind of behavior, that's what tends to happen. And in being cool, being smart. One of the things St. Pius is doing, they are going to a summa cum laude, magna cum laude, rather than just a valedictorian and salutatorian.
And if I can push my objection to that, they're starting with the sophomore class at Pius is the first class that will not have that valedictorian, salutatorian program. Needless to say, I bet you can't guess where my daughter's not getting.
But at the same time, my son's graduating as a senior, and there is a whole group of kids who have gone through grade school and high school together,
yes.
And they are all very intelligent. And I would rather have a group of 20 kids be recognized at academic level of achievements.
I think it's great, the
rather than just one or two, because it kind of got to, when I was going through school a few years ago, it was more of a real stress intense, who was going to get it, because that was the thing that made a difference for scholarships, and now that's not as intense as it was before.
See, I was privileged when I went to school. They gave me a lot of recognition. He made it. He took the bets. He actually graduated.
And he has a certificate of attendance.
Yes, that's that. I was
there.
there.
You got it.
I failed that one too.
We need to take a break. We'll be back here in just a couple minutes here on the Round Table, so stick with us. A lot more ahead. You're listening to JCTV.
You may not know their names, but the students who are helped through a Jefferson College Foundation scholarship carry thanks in their hearts. It's for the kindness that our contributors have shown. Make a difference in their tomorrows.
Education, the great equalizer. It doesn't just mean you get more knowledge. It means you improve your quality of life.
Give to the Jefferson College Foundation today.
Exceptional education.
Spectacular experience.
The personalization.
It was convenient.
It's a fun atmosphere.
And my personal experience here has just been wonderful.
It just opened up a whole new horizon for our family.
Arnold, High Ridge, and the Hillsborough campus has been very convenient.
I recommend Jefferson College every day to anyone who will ask.
I'm Russ Hilton.
I'm Jane.
I'm Brandon Berger.
I'm Liz Lando, and I'm proud I chose to attend Jefferson College.
Welcome back to the Roundtable. I'm Matt West with KJFF Radio, alongside my co-host Steve Davis with the law firm of Davis, Applebaum,
and Mays. Davis, Applebaum, Mays, up there in Arnold. Your full Jefferson County service firm. This is our free plug for.
Yes.
In fact, we encourage everyone to listen to KJF Radio.
And if you need a lawyer.
Hey, and I just got a volunteer from KJF Radio.
Did you?
Yes, last time I was on there, I had said, please, I need help, and I still need help. So if you see this and it's before the fair, which is March 15th through the 18th, please come. But there was a lady who called and said, I would love to help. I taught for 32 years, and I'd love to. She taught science.
Oh, great.
And she would love to help. She's helping the entire week of the fair, and she's coming at least once a week to the office to help throughout the year.
That is one thing we haven't talked about.
KJF Radio does well.
Now, sometimes it's an inconvenience. Can people just show up and say, Jill, I want to volunteer.
Yes.
Can I do something?
Yes, we are desperately in need of volunteers. So just, you can let me know when you'll be able to volunteer after the show.
and for whatever you can do or can't do physically, if you can only put in 3 hours or you can put in 3 days, whatever you're available, you'll work with them.
Yes.
And there's that many jobs to do,
yes,
really.
if it's you need to sit down, you need to walk around, you want to do stairs.
And again, just because of the schedule and Palm Sunday and all this other stuff, a lot of your regular volunteers can't be there on whatever day.
Yes, so I am desperately in need of volunteers.
And again, they can just call Jefferson College.
Jefferson College, extension 474, or just ask for the Mastodon office. Or they can just show up the week of the fair.
Ask for Mastodon, ask for Jill Thomas, either
Right.
way, they'll get you. And if they might have to leave a message, but
Yes, it's very likely that they'll have to leave a message. If it's the week of the fair, we actually set up the 13th. So from the 13th to the 19th, it's very hard for me to get messages. So just come on out to the fair.
I think the biggest logistical problem you're going to have is the night of the 14th. You're going to have like 2 hours to set up the whole gym, so the main floor of the
Yes.
gym. So
Yes.
if anybody can work that Friday evening,
Yes.
also.
We talked a lot about science. I'm proud to be a proud parent of an art award recipient.
And yes.
Let's hit the other side about the artistic individuals.
And that's why it's an art and a science fair, because there's always a scientist in every artist and an artist in every scientist. And it's really that combination that is the true essence of a person. And that's the person that we're trying to reach. So the art side, we actually have about 3 times as many art as we do science every year. So we have about 1,500 art this year alone. And actually,
I'm in that generation where it skipped, or something, because my parents, pretty good with art. Dad does oil paintings. My mom, all this
they could be an art judge.
Well, yeah, they could. My stick figures need help, so I'm not. Is there something to that? I mean, just because your parents were, could be a brilliant scientist, doesn't mean that you get it, or vice versa.
I think it's just one of those gifts.
Yeah.
There are a lot of times where there are, the children of the parents do, but sometimes it's the grandchildren. But we encourage everybody to go ahead and submit an art project.
Now, it's a tangent, and this is how my mind races, and just sometimes art/music. Music's an art. Do we have anyone for the young composers? My daughter loves to compose, and so is there anything where she could sit there and say, I wrote this song, I created this, whatever, for the art part?
There is nothing that
That's
would,
interesting, though.
Yes, that is. There's nothing that would. There's nothing in the rules that would prevent that. I mean, she could have the music there and that's why we have a student performing the national anthem. We try to encourage all forms of art. We've had the St. Louis Symphony down. We've had different choral groups singing. but it's about art.
'Cause I know we went through when we had to record our her first CD for a national competition. And there are places in this county where you actually can get professionally done.
Let me just make a plug here. There is a songwriting course here at Jefferson College. It's done through continuing education. The songwriter teacher, his name is Mel Bescher. He has written songs for like Alan Jackson and others. Top flight professional, been doing it for over 30 years. And call Jefferson College if you're curious about that. But people who are engaged in that kind of thing. I met him, I talked to him, real sharp individual. Natural musician, or he seems to be natural. You know, everything just flows from him. And he says, if you're really going to do this for real, you have to be able to tell a lot of stories. So he'll start off the song with a story.
Well, and that's another thing.
I don't know if your daughter has gotten to that point yet.
She's more classical.
But see, she could combine it. Tell a little story. Oh yeah, I wrote this one day while.
The blues that she writes, she'll write songs for like my wife's birthday or something, and that'll be her present. She'll create a song for the holidays or a song for her birthday, and that would be her present.
Because I'm getting ready, I'm getting kind of tired of that standard happy birthday thing. You know?
Oh, no.
So maybe if she has something new, we can kind of.
The plug. We got it started. My family, got involved in Mastodon early on. It's just not the schools. I mean, we were actually an individual.
Right.
My wife taught, so she heard about it, but her class or school wasn't doing it at the time. So my daughter entered on her own as an individual participant.
And that's one of the things. If the schools do not enter the kids directly, the parents can. Or let's say the school says we're only going to send 10 kids, and you think your child's project was really good, you can go ahead and enter them directly.
And how about even if our child's project wasn't really good, but our child spent the time and energy and effort to create the project, seeing it out there on display.
That's right. And this is about building self-esteem for the kids. What our slogan is, it's about kids we care. We're the Mastodon Fair. And it's really about the kids. And so if you think your child's art and or science project would be of the level that would place at the Mastodon Art Science Fair, you in the month of January every year, fill out the online application.
Got to ask a question. I know this sounds a little cynical, but having dealt with like Pinewood Derby and, it's supposed to be the kids' project and, all of a sudden the dad, well, you need to do this, and then dad gets out his saw and, you better not mess up. And pretty soon the dad has created the little derby car.
Yeah, my kids have never won the Pinewood Derby. I've made them create their own cars. I do not help.
But it's about that kid getting the self-esteem of doing it themselves.
Yeah, and they're very happy with those wood blocks with wheels.
Until they lose every time.
Did you tell them they need to shave those down a little bit? But I mean, how much do the parents get involved in some of these projects? Do you know?
Well, I'm going to speak from personal experience.
Okay.
Back in 1979, we had their first art and science fair. I was in that group of 14 people that participated, and I won the top prize.
Ooh, that's impressive.
I'm impressed, yes.
She's padding her resume.
1980, I go and I do an archaeological dig as my project. Now, mind you, I'd been doing archaeological digs since I was 8 years old. I knew what I was doing. I did this phenomenal project. I did this dig that took me many months. Everything was done exact according to how you should in a real archaeological dig. And the feedback that the judges wrote on my thing is, your parents should not have helped you.
Ooh.
I was devastated as a kid because I did this whole thing. My parents didn't do it. And so I was determined at that point, I know that judge looked at the age and said, there's no way a kid could do this. And as an adult, I can see where they came from. But as a kid, depending on the type of person I was, that could have been a defining moment. But, I knew that they didn't really know me, and they were just going on whatever stereotype they have of what, young kids should be able to do.
Especially girls.
Especially girls. They don't know gender.
Oh, they don't? Okay,
there's
I'm
no
sorry.
names and there's no gender.
All right,
It was a pink project. He gave it away.
The little bows.
The little bows on the dinosaur eggs.
So what we try to do is if the judges say something about, because we let the judges write notes, and if the judges think that this has been done by an adult, especially it normally happens on little kids. It doesn't normally happen on the older kids, but it does happen on the little kids. And all the kids have to do is, let's say mom helped them type it or dad helped them build the project or whatever. They just put a little card on it that says, thank you to my mom for doing the typing, my dad for doing this stuff. And I coach the parents to say, you can type for your kid, that's fine. Your kid's,
Right.
7 years old, they can't type, that's fine. But type what they say. And don't fix all of the grammar. Let them say it how a kid would say it. And that's fine. The judges don't count off for that. So we encourage the parents to support the kids. It's normally in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade where they did the project and now they just want to slap it on the board and they don't want to spell check their stuff. And that's where the parents' guidance takes effect. And the parents need to be clear at if they, and that's the same thing for art. They may get down to the very end of it and then not mat it or not, finish the background or, it's just, it looks a little bit unfinished type of thing. And that's where parents' guidance is. If, what is your goal? To show your best foot forward. That your presentation is important. When you go and do a resume, relate it to the future. When you go and do a resume, if you have spelling errors on your resume, do you really think you'll get that secretarial job? No.
Right.
Well, Jill, on behalf of the 28-year-old program, we'd like to award you.
29.
Well, but yours was 28 years old.
That's true. That's true.
Well,
Gold star.
that's it. You are now
Big
going to
medal.
award you that gold ribbon, blue ribbon from 28 years ago that some judge.
Reparations time. By the way, with some of your digs, you did find something. You were part of a very historic dig in
Yes.
Imperial Barnhart.
Yes.
Tell us
Yes.
about that real quick.
The Mastodon Park was actually having archaeological digs for the Mastodon bones. And one day, I guess I worked with the Barnhart digs since I was 8, and then I guess I was 11 or 12 when they started digging at the park. So I would go down there after school and then on the weekends, almost every weekend, and work 8, 10 hours a day with them, with the actual archaeologists. And one day, all of a sudden I came and there was National Geographic just swarming the place. And they had found the Clovis Point, an arrowhead that was actually embedded in a mastodon bone. And we knew the age of that layer.
So you knew the Clovis people.
Yes.
Made an arrowhead.
Yes, it was a very
and
distinct
shot
arrowhead.
it into or threw it into whatever they did.
Right.
A mastodon.
That's correct.
And so that was kind of
It
proved.
was embedded.
Embedded.
Now,
It
was
was-
the
it was-
bone with the other part of the mastodon, or is this one of those things where it was just a target practice? The Clovis people found this bone, and for
Well,
now,
You're messing it all up.
these
now. You're messing it up, Steve.
all these years.
Well, see, all the
we've
rest
now-
of the bones just happen to be laid just
Well, that's
right.
what I was wondering about the rest of the mastodon. Well, they found that bone. Well, yeah, they're
No,
target.
it was actually embedded in a bone, and the rest of the mastodon was there. It was, it was
So you proved what?
that man and mastodon lived at the same time, and that was the first time ever in the history of the world that had been definitively proven. And it was such a big deal that the National Geographic magazine was actually being printed that talked about archaeological sites of the world. They stopped the presses, did an article, did a component about the mastodon finding of the Clovis man, and redid the map that showed all the little points on the map, and reran that magazine.
Now, Matt,
That's how
Matt feels a
important.
little odd here, but could you explain to him the time period when we're talking about when this man and the mastodon? 'Cause, how long ago are we talking?
A long time ago. Long
I guess
before
man
you,
won
Matt.
in the big battle.
yeah, but
because I don't see any mastodons walking
When we're
around.
talking about man and hunting the mastodon, how many hundreds or thousands of years? We don't know.
Numbers are not my strength.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you.
This is where
You-
her
you
art
would
side
When were the
comes in.
Clovis people around? What time?
I could give a call to Nancy Smith at the Mastodon, but that's a
been a
good reason
while.
why you need to go up to the Mastodon Park, because everybody thinks that the fair is held up at the park, and we were for a little bit, but then we outgrew it.
They
But,
didn't actually use bow and arrows. They had this.
Atlatl.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
They used an atlatl. And I'd explain that, but I don't have time. You actually do bow and arrow, though.
Yes, I do
that's one of
archery.
your hobbies.
That's one of my archeries. Yes.
Yeah.
I like doing.
You ever hit a mastodon bone?
No,
No?
I don't shoot at mastodon bones. I spend a long time digging them up. But I do
so
like
what
3D
animals do you
targets.
go, shooting and killing and, at?
Well, with bow and arrow, it would be a deer. That gives
But
you
you've never
something
done that.
big. No, but that's what I'm doing this fall. But
Now, are you
I'm
going to
practicing.
eat this deer? Or
Absolutely.
Okay.
Deer meat
Okay.
is wonderful.
Yeah.
And you know, you don't hunt. If you're going to hunt, you hunt responsibly. And if you're going to shoot at something, you make sure you're going to kill it. You don't take a shot that's iffy. And when you do kill it, you use all of the parts. I mean, that's a responsible hunter. And
So if she's wearing a leather jacket next, winter, we'll know that.
And with this, that's why they're not bringing the tigers to the fair, because Jill's out there hunting.
No. But I mean, lots of people have lots of sports. But I was my dad's boy when I was growing up. I was.
My dad's
I was
boy.
curious, how you got into archaeology? That's
Well,
not,
my dad, he loved hunting for arrowheads, and we would go out and we would hunt for arrowheads for hours, days. And he'd go to the archaeological meetings, and I'd go along with him, and we'd go to archaeological digs and caves where archaeological finds were, and dig up burial sites with archaeologists and all of that stuff. So I was.
Disturb the spirits and.
No, we would do an archaeological team to
we owe a
research.
lot in my family, and especially my brother, to archaeology. It made a major impact in our lives. My brother was an archaeologist, couldn't make any money at it, went into oil and gas, and now he's rich.
Exactly, kind of like teaching. I love teaching, but you can't
They
make any
stopped
money in
funding
it.
his digs. He's over there and out in Tunisia, and
Look what I found here.
the grant runs out, and you come home. It's that simple.
Exactly, but there are so many different aspects to people, and that's one of the things that the science and art allow you to do. And it makes people have a goal. I want to do an art project, or I want to do a science project, or I'd like to experiment with this. Like we had somebody did an art project that was a symmetrical toothpick lady. This lady was about 12 inches tall, but everything, it was all like an outline of this lady, and it was phenomenal. Every toothpick was exactly, you could just draw a line right down the center. It was perfectly symmetrical. We spent 20 minutes trying to find one toothpick that was not exactly the same size as the other. We couldn't do it. It was a phenomenal piece of art. And it was toothpicks and glue. But so it doesn't matter what the media is. Or what the outlet is, it's what kids are interested in. But having an art and science fair gives a direction or a way to, kind of.
Well, we'll see if Guinness dubs this the largest in the United States, the largest in the world.
The largest in the world is what we're going for.
Next year.
Yeah,
That's
next year's our 30th anniversary, so we're hoping to have
Who are
it
you trying to beat out?
Well, we haven't found anybody else that has actually both an art and science fair.
There's larger just art fairs or larger just science fairs.
Actually, I haven't found a larger science fair either.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. Wow. We haven't mentioned the website, MASRF.org. MASRF, Mastodon Art Science Regional Fair, MASRF.org. Jill, thanks for joining us for a while.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Jill. Pleasure.
Have everybody come out, March 15th to the 18th.
And call
Jefferson
Jill.
College.
She needs lots of help
Yes,
right
she does.
away. Thanks.
And dollars.
And
you can send me
dollars.
dollars.
We always need that.
Donations
And
as well.
that's another thing. Most people don't realize that we are a nonprofit organization. We are not part of the park. We do not get state funds. We do not get federal funds. We have to raise every penny. And we give away about $35,000 in prizes and awards every year. We have to raise every penny of that. So, yes, it takes a community to run the fair.
There you go. We'll leave it right there. Thanks for joining us on the Roundtable. I'm Matt West, and we'll see you back here in a couple weeks on JCTV.